Hi, welcome to Unreal Fest Online 2020. I'm Alex, and in this track I'll be presenting the Immersive Cinema experiences with Unreal Engine. Hope you enjoy, and stick around for the Q&A afterwards.
In this presentation, you will learn what Immersive Cinema is. So we'll go through the basic techniques and some entertainment industry tidbits about the current state of immersive cinema. We'll learn how to set up an Unreal project for production, and in the end take a sneak peek preview of the St. Cross film that I directed for an immersive cinema theater. So let's jump right in. In immersive cinema, we're still trying to tell a story, but the experience is different for each person from their unique perspective. It seems everyone is trying to create a so-called immersive cinema in order to figure out how to get people out of their homes and back into the cineplex. So I wouldn't call any of the experiences cinema, though some of them may be cinematic. As a filmmaker and themed entertainment designer, I see the fundamental difference between immersion and cinema. So basically, cinema should suspend your disbelief and bring you into a world where you emotionally connect with the characters telling their story. Camera placement, editing, focus, staging, color, pacing, time, design and performance are all manipulated by the filmmakers to provide visual and emotional cues to tell that story in a very deliberate way. They can slow things down with slow motion, change perspectives, trick the audience with editing, and force you to see only what they want you to see. You watch the story unfold as they intended, so you're not a spectator, you're not a participant. Immersive experiences don't want to suspend disbelief. They want to place you in a world where you are one of the characters and it becomes your story. You are now a participant and not a spectator. So most traditional cinematic filmmaking techniques don't apply or don't translate well. And why should they? If the story is happening to you, there shouldn't be a camera. You are the camera, free to look in whatever direction you choose, whenever you choose to, in real time. There should be no motion blur, no cuts, no selective focus, no proscenium between you and the experience. So just to showcase what this could feel like in a theater-like experience, I'm going to just play a brief clip to demo. So in essence, this is what Korean technology maker CJ 4Dplex is currently making. It's these panels, these large screens, projectors, and they are now operating at least in 678 theaters. As a curiosity as well, Circuit George Raymond said that ICE, so Immersive Cinema Experiences, auditoriums are accounting now for 32 of its total 680 screens, but generated 75% of CGR's box office revenue in 2018. Scott Scher of Sony Pictures, he's been adamant saying that experienced films in the ICE theaters format brings a unique and exciting cinematic experience to get movie fans out of the home and into the theater. And now let's go into a technical setup and see how we can do this inside the Unreal Engine. All right, so here we are. This is the first scene of the Saints Cross film. It is the scene where these ships, these Crusader ships, arrive at the coast of Lisbon. So to go into what I was talking about, the camera rig, this is what I mean. I'll bring up here the parameter panel. Just close that real quick. Okay, here is the front camera with all its parameters and settings. Here you can see it's a 16:9 film back. The focal length, the f-stops, all the focus settings, aperture, it's all contained into this one blueprint, the Cinecamera blueprint. The same blueprint was then replicated onto the left and right camera. So all of these parameters could be synced. The field of view, the near field and far clip plane, the aspect ratio. One thing that's really important, so you could see here the front camera, it's on a 000 rotation. As soon as you switch on to the left camera, you'll get a minus 90 degree angle here. And the right is facing a positive 90 degree angle on the z-axis. This essentially, it bridges out all the necessary views to have a immersive cinematic experience. One thing that is very, very useful all during this time to just preview the frames is to have the camera view pinned in the viewport so that it will allow you, when moving the camera rig around, to see all the views at once, so you can better frame whatever it is you're trying to show in that specific sequence. Speaking of sequence, let's go into the sequencer to see how all of this can get exported. So here we have the first shot on the timeline. Let's enter that and select the front camera, for example. You can see as I scrub through the timeline, I have the left and the right viewport showing what's happening on each respective panel and the front panel. So I have a complete view of the full framing, of the full panoramic experience that's going to happen in the theaters. Same goes for the left camera, same goes for the right camera. Of notice, so when you are exporting each of these camera cuts, you're going to want to bring up your render movie settings. And since we were exporting for a 4K HDR final format, you would select EXR as your image output format. Keep it on the 4K resolution. Here we went for a gamut of Rec 709. And the thing that I found that better improved the maintainability or the scene management of a big project such as this one is to render out each different camera with their file format as the world they were rendering, if it were the left, front, or right camera, and then obviously the frame count. All of these frames would go into one specific folder for that specific camera. So for the right, for example, you'll pin it to the right folder. for the left camera, you would render out all the frames into a left named folder for that scene. What would this accomplish? In essence, you would have every single frame for that view rendered out to a single folder. When you are then bringing it into an authoring package for the final cut, you would edit, let's say, the front camera all by itself as a linear cut with your transitions, your fades, your audio. Render that out, finish and done. The only thing that you would need to do then to have a left and a right cut is to bring in these frames from their specific folder, essentially retaining all transitions and fades from the previous cut of the front camera, just replacing everything with the frames from the left or the front or the right camera. So this would save you a lot of time of having to edit each one of these panels, of these final cuts individually, syncing out their cut times. So this is a useful tip if you're producing these type of synchronized films. Coming back, things to keep in mind. One, you can start with the projector aspect ratio. So not all projectors are 16:9. Some 4K projectors are a 4:3. So this was actually a choice that we did so that we could better fill the wall from top to bottom rather than from left to right. It would just mean that the projectors could be closer and that the walls would have more screening on them from top to bottom. Another thing that is also useful is when you're working with high dynamic range. So remember always to keep your pipeline in EXR with the full dynamic range. It's useful if you want to get the best out of theater conditions, dark light conditions. And then the same goes for the surround sound 5.1 that we used. It really came in handy with the immersive experience and brought everything together in the sense that we could allocate sounds to the left part of the screen only, for example, different Foleys to the right part of the screen only, for example. And so this is actually a big bonus when working with immersive experience theaters. Okay, so we came to a part when we can now show a sneak peek preview of the Saints Cross film. So I'm just going to play one of the screens, one of the cameras for you. Basically, it will be the first front camera. Unfortunately, we can't get a full experience just this way, so I'll leave it for you to then imagine, or if possible, to come and see the full experience once it's in theaters. And that's it. So thank you very much for sticking around. Just as a conclusion, remember these 3 points. So design for a participant, not just a spectator when doing immersive experiences. Realize that at all times the viewer could be watching the front panel, the left panel, the forward panel, the right panel, and there needs to be something interesting in each one of them. Just as a business point of view, so immersive cinema is a growing market, as is VR. So experiences everything that takes people out of their homes and back into the theaters is really getting a big comeback. And just from a technical point of view, keep your workflow so as to maintain syncs between the tools throughout the pipeline. So a camera for each final render, a folder for every single frame from that camera. It will really help you greatly when you're doing the final edit. So just to finish, you can find me out on my Twitter at AlexPien, and check out our newly released game, Infinity Patterns, on itch.io. Thanks very much. Take care.